there's video from, I guess it's last night's house show for WWE, where a fan brought a sign ringside to Cody Rhodes asking Cody to be his best man, and Cody accepts being his best man and said he's going to be his best man, which hey, he absolutely just took the baton from John Cena being the babyface of WWE, because who does that? But two, if you guys could pick any wrestling personality to be in your wedding party, who you picking?
Past or present?
As long as they're alive, doesn't matter.
But we have to take them for who they are today?
Absolutely.
Who's a partier? I'd have said
I'm going Jey Uso.
Okay.
I know for sure that we would have an incredible time at the bachelor party, at the wedding, at the reception. Uso's gonna make sure that everybody is loose. So I'm going Jey Uso.
I would take his brother Jimmy, because I think he has a better record of having more fun.
Ooh, that's a little rough.
Yeah, actually, I'm with Rhodesia. I met the Usos, as we did. We both, all of us met the Usos multiple times. Awesome guys. But Jimmy is the bubbly personality. You know, probably Jay is more like me. Like, once I get to know somebody, once I get warm with somebody, I light up.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah, it's a good call.
And whereas Jimmy's like Matt. Like, he's the guy that's talking to everybody. Like, right?
That's
he's the guy that's talking to everybody. He's the one. He's the life of the party. Jimmy got to get, I think Jay got to get warm. For me, you know what got to be Cody. You know, my brother from
another Was that you at ringside? Was that you with the sign?
Oh, I'll get remarried if I can get him at the renew. Hey, we're gonna do a renew, Cody. I need you and Brandy there. I might go down to the yoga studio, get a little yoga done. You know, holler at Brandy, see what we can do.
That's
but
awesome.
You know, it's funny you asked that question, because actually, it sounds like maybe Solo might have been the most fun. We just see him in this character of this hard nose, like not playing around. But Solo might be it. He might be him.
He probably is. Yeah.
He might be
but
him.
The good thing about doing Jimmy, because you hopefully get the combo with Trinity too.
There we go.
You get like a 2-for-1 special.
Yeah.
So we all picking the Usos or Cody Rhodes, which should have been the main event of WrestleMania, but it looks like ain't nobody picked The Rock. That's interesting. Nobody won at one time. Oh well, it is what it is. We are 2 episodes away from our 100th episode, which is pretty damn incredible. Thank everybody who has listened and supported the pod over the last year plus. We love you guys. This is episode 98, so we got 2 more to go. I am Matt. We have Rhodesia. We have Eshaun. Rhodesia, I guess you can take it for SmackDown, because weeks ago, we talked about our top 5 wrestlers, and you hit us with the Roman. So whenever Roman's on camera, I like that. Send it to you so you can give us that, just like whenever Cody's on, I like to give it to Eshaun. Walk us through whatever you want to talk about with SmackDown. Roman was back, and boy, do I have thoughts on a couple of things. Most notably, we're going to talk about the Heyman interview. We actually are going to play part of that and kind of just talk through how incredible this man continues to be on the microphone. But Rhodesia, I'll throw it to you. What you got around SmackDown?
First off, we got a SmackDown episode going on over at Eshaun's house right now.
They going hard.
They lively over there. Get them on air. Well, let's just start with the main event, and then we'll lead into Roman. So main event, triple threat. Y'all know how I feel. Usually I don't like triple threats. This one was an incredible one. So the way I took SmackDown this week, I have one word for it: love. The many things I love about SmackDown. So I love that this triple threat made all 3 guys look strong, like super strong. Now, one person didn't look like they didn't belong in that group. That's really hard to do. It takes veteranism, if that's a word I just made up. But it takes that of a wrestler to be able to execute a triple threat where I'm excited. I'm on the edge of my seat. The freaking a phenomenal forearm into RKO. Sick. Completely sick. And then, of course, we didn't get a winner. Why didn't we get a winner? Because the tribal chief returns. The bloodline come in, lays everybody out. And what I love the most about this main event well, it's two parts to it, but the main part that I love about it is as cool as a cucumber. Nick Aldis, what'd he do? He talked to Paul Heyman. Hey, congratulate Roman for me. Why is that? He just got himself a 4-way at Royal Rumble. Now, we heard this, about a month ago from a certain person on this show.
Did
Did we not? Did we not? I didn't see it. I thought after you said it, okay, I can see that happening, but it played out beautifully. And it's not cheesy. It's not corny. Like I said, I think how great that match was that we saw in that triple threat, for me, it made me feel like, okay, I'm actually all eyes for this fatal 4-way come Royal Rumble. Seeing the match, main event first, and then kind of what happened with the bloodline. How did y'all feel the match went? How did y'all feel with Roman returning the way that he did?
Great match. You know, before I get into the match, did we hear from LA Knight on SmackDown?
We saw a video package.
No, they did a fantastic video package for him.
Awesome video package.
Breaking down 2023 and then what his mission is for 2024. But no, he didn't have any live.
He hasn't grabbed the mic in a while, right? We haven't got those yeah with the crowds yet. But I thought all the guys looked great. As Rhodesia said, that spot with AJ with the springboard going for the forearm, gets the RKO. That's the one thing I always love about Randy Orton and RKO, and even DDP. DDP used to do it all the time. Rhodesia, you didn't see it back in the day, but he would do these diamond cutters like out of nowhere, right? It was always like a different variation, and it's always cool to see when we get Randy. But guys, I don't know if we want to talk about it right now because we still got a lot more Heyman and Roman and Cody to talk about. But I can see a way for them to get the title off Roman onto someone else without Roman actually losing.
I think that would be horrible. I saw that online Friday night, which is correct, right? Like, it is going to be a fatal 4-way, and you can have the title put on Orton, because Orton is one of them that makes the most sense. It's not going on AJ, and it's not LA Knight's time. But oh my God, if you in this 3+ year reign and Roman doesn't get pinned, I think you just wasted all that equity you built up. You can't do that. I don't think you can do that. I think that would be horrible. But there's a way you can do it. I would hate that.
I would hate it too.
Yeah.
I would hate it.
Because because you built this up and then he didn't take the pinfall. So like you took the belt off of him, and I would feel like, let's go with Orton. Say Orton wins the Royal Rumble match and he pins AJ or he pins LA Knight. Orton doesn't get that rub of the 2000, whatever, I don't know how many days, yeah, but he doesn't get that. I feel like whoever takes that title from Roman has to get that rub, because if he doesn't get it, what was the point of doing this entire thing?
Hey, let's walk through this right now, right? So if you want Roman to look strong at Mania, so let's say we ultimately want to get to a Rock and Roman match at Mania, right? I would love to see it.
Okay.
If Roman goes into that match with the Undisputed Championship against a Rock who wrestles every 10 years, about to be 70 years old next year, like, going into that match, it's a spectacle in itself, but you know Rock isn't winning that championship if Roman has the title. Let's say you want Cody to finish the story at Mania against a credible champion, and it's not Roman. How do you not let Roman lose steam by taking the pin? Right? Because now he's going to take a pin at Mania, right? And then a couple months later, potentially take another pin, maybe against The Rock. That might not be a good look. It might be a nice way for Roman to come back at some point and say, hey, I never was pinned for this championship. I demand a rematch against whatever champion is there, right? And now with Randy Orton, maybe Randy Orton is the one to get that pinfall from Roman. But he's not really the guy that's being projected, right? Hopefully it's Cody. Cody's the guy that should be getting that rub, not Randy Orton, who could potentially lose the belt a few months later to a surging Cody Rhodes. So it might make more sense for him to pin like an AJ Styles, like, right? Because outside of AJ turning heel, putting on some black jeans and getting more muscular and putting more color in his beard, he still was the cold guy from a couple months ago that people were complaining about, right? So he could take that pin, and we can have some great television lead up into Mania with the three of those guys. However, Roman's still strong. He still is undefeated in 4 years. He still has that, right? He still can keep complaining about he was never pinned for the championship, right? And Cody Rhodes can continue his surgence to the championship, and eventually the two of them meeting at a big PLE.
Who's the two? Cody
and Roman.
Well, if you do that, then you go Cody and Orton at Mania, and you give Cody the belt.
Yes, Cody and Orton, right? Cody wins, and now you're not sacrificing, Roman's undefeated streak to Randy Orton, who's going to be potentially losing to Cody at Mania, right? Because that seems like a waste of equity right there. If Orton's going to beat the streak just to lose to Cody a couple months later, it'll make sense for that to be on the line on another day.
And that's why, I'm so excited to see how they pull this off. Because what I originally said, and it still could be what happens, is you go Rock, Roman at Chamber, and then you go Roman and Cody, Night 2 Mania, unless they never was a plan to put the belt on Cody this year for some reason at Mania. Yeah. But I just feel like everybody is taking this story as finishing the story is taking the belt off of Roman. And it's never been just about taking the belt off of Roman. It's always been about him just getting the title his dad never got, finishing that story. But now it's coming to this big thing of it's Roman versus Cody. Yeah, I think I still wouldn't want Roman losing the belt at Rumble unless it was against Cody one-on-one. Then I think, hey, we can do that. But you got to figure out a way, even if Rock interferes. So say if Rock interferes,
ding, ding, ding.
If we go with this, hey, we want to have this match at WrestleMania, then Rock's got to interfere either then at the Rumble or at Elimination Chamber if Roman is working that event in a title match.
Because imagine that, Matt. Like, imagine you got the 4-way, right? Roman's outside the ring for whatever reason. Maybe he's beating up somebody, and then all of a sudden you hear, "If the smell," right? And then The Rock comes out, walks out. Roman nose to nose with this guy. They're barking at each other, right? Then all of a sudden in the ring, everyone's startled. Randy Orton catch somebody slipping. Man, boom, RKO. Championship. Roman looks back.
I would love it.
Right, and there we go. Now we got some animosity.
If it wasn't thousands of days in this streak, I would love that. Because I just don't think that if Roman loses his belt because of interference from The Rock, I think that also takes this entire streak and throws it in the garbage. Because then, whoever beats Roman, when Roman loses this title, it needs to be without a shadow of a doubt that, I've always thought it would be Cody, and they would have callbacks to the first Mania match. Everybody from the bloodline is going to run in. He's going to eat 4 spears and 22 Superman punches, and he gets through all that, and he pins Roman definitively. I think that is the only way to make this work for all this to be a thing, is whenever he does lose, it's got to be definitive on your own, whoever does it.
But it's not going to be in that 4-way match. It would be a one-on-one encounter if that were to happen, right? So if you think it's going to be a definitive win for whoever against Roman, you can't do that in a 4-way match. You can't.
My top 5 is not losing at the Rumble. The only way that my top 5, meaning Roman, the only way that he's losing this belt this year is if he loses it to Cody somehow at Elimination Chamber because of The Rock. Maybe not directly because of The Rock, because like you said, you don't want to take away Cody's climb to the top of all adversary.
Adversary.
Roll with it. I got you. You cooking.
Adversity.
Cooking with grease.
Adversary.
Adversity.
Roll with it.
You don't want him
going up. The name of our podcast.
Adversary.
We got you, sis. Keep rolling.
But I don't even know how to spell adversary. So, anyways, we climb up top. Adversity is the word, and that'd be the only way I'm willing for my top 5 to lose his belt and not break Hogan's streak, is lose it to Cody in Australia at Elimination Chamber, and because of indirectly The Rock, and now you have Rock Roman at Mania. Otherwise, then you can have your Cody and your Randy at Mania, and then he in Survivor Series he drops it. But point is, Roman's not losing at Royal Rumble. It's flat out. There's no way he's losing at Royal Rumble.
It was funny watching Roman 2 on Friday, and y'all know I talk presentation all the time. His presentation is second to none. But what he brings to the show when he's on the show is just like you can't it's hard to kind of like put into words besides just saying he has it. And it's like, all right, well, tell me more. I don't watch wrestling. I don't know who this Roman Reigns guy is. Explain to me why he's so important. It's kind of hard to put into words what he brings to WWE television when he's there. Even when they just pull up, he just laughs when Kayla asks about The Rock, right? Even that takes a certain type of aura to be able to pull that off. And then the shot when his music hits and he's walking down, that look he has on his face, it's like, dude, that's the guy. The guy is incredible. Just everything that he does. He's in a great space. I just hope to see more of him in 2024. I hope we don't get what we got in 2023. But it was a good piece of business. And yes, December 19th, I think it was, on this very podcast, I brought up about the Fatal 4-Way. And there it is. Some of y'all out there is going to start listening to us. There's a couple more things that has been said on this podcast in the last few weeks that is going to 100% happen. And I got the clips ready, baby. I'm putting them out there. And y'all need to tell your friends and tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a family member. If y'all not on the TFW podcast, you get incredible banter. You get friends talking, and we drop jewels.
Made up words.
We dropped. Oh, man. Yeah, I told you. We got this already. I cannot wait to put this in to the internet to see how I can spell it. It is absolutely going to be the name of this podcast. I love it.
Aversary. But remember how I was talking about love. Everything about this show is love. And we talked about this on the Best of series a couple weeks ago as far as best promo or talker. And I know we pulled Paulie off and said that he can't be nominee because he's not a wrestling talent. We have to revisit this, y'all. We have to revisit. Eshaun, do you have the clip ready?
I do. Ready for it?
Yeah, I just want y'all to listen to this, and then hopefully we don't get any copyright issues, so I'll start talking in the background too, so they know that every 30 seconds or something. But I want to hear how y'all feel how he executed this. This is a guy who has never been in the ring as a wrestling talent, putting on promos that makes me so invested to want to watch and participate. Like, he's, to me right now, the best thing of the bloodline. So if you get a chance, go ahead and play that. And I want to hear what y'all thoughts are, how beautifully executed Paulie did this promo.
The Rock name drops Roman Reigns because The Rock wants to sit at the head of the table. To sit at the head of the table, one must be invited to a dinner of relevancy. The Rock has not been invited, nor will he be.
Pause that right there. I thought that line was a big line. He won't be invited to this, which means he's going to have to crash it. I thought that was huge.
He's cooking. Yep.
Nor will he be, because The Rock is just like everybody else. He's looking for a shortcut to the headlines. There's only two ways in this world to guarantee going viral. One, date Taylor Swift. Two, call out Roman Reigns.
I did think he was going to bring up Logan Paul there. I was like, that's going to be a hell of a rub for Logan Paul to talk about going viral. But he brought up Taylor Swift instead.
Roman Reigns wins a match, out comes John Cena. Roman Reigns wins a match, out comes Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns beats Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes still talking about finishing his damn story.
And probably was about to come up in a minute is my favorite line of all times. Go ahead.
CM Punk comes back to WWE after 10 years. Welcome back. CM Punk says he's the OG Paul Heyman guy, which he is, till I upgraded from best friend to advocate and upgraded from advocate to wise man.
Oh, boy.
Yo.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
If he did not tell you where he was aligned with, who he sides with, Dude.
And what I loved about that even more, of course, I love the bar of upgrade, but I really just enjoyed the welcome back.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. That's like one of those type of, hey, if you know, kind of thing. Like, hey, I'm gonna put you over in the promo, but I'm also going to dig you too. I did see a conspiracy theory or a storyline theory of what if this entire thing is set up by Heyman for Roman to lose the title so Heyman can go back to Punk.
That's cool too.
And I would say that would have been a great potential situation, but then he wouldn't have said, I upgraded, and then I upgraded. Like Heyman, he just wouldn't have thrown Punk under the bus if that was the end goal. But I thought that line was incredible.
Knight, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight all fight for the privilege of getting smashed by Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, and the one man that wins tonight will be smashed by Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble the same way whomever opposes Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania will be smashed by your tribal chief, smashed by the head of the table, smashed by the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Because there's not one man on the face of this planet that can beat Roman.
He talking that talk, man. He talking that talk. You know, I got a thing that I do a lot. Like if I'm watching something, I don't know if I've said it on the podcast or not, where I'm like, all right, I've seen enough. I heard enough, right? It could be like somebody who sucks. They do something good. I'm like, all right, I've seen enough. This person's the GOAT. I've heard enough. Paul Heyman's the GOAT of this here talking thing. I don't think anybody for sure in my lifetime is going to be close to him. And I think he's going to go down in history as absolutely a top 2 talker in the history of pro wrestling.
For someone to have that much passion and for you to gravitate on every word, even with the little stupid piped in sound, that was a crazy, crazy promo. For someone who has not taken a swanton off the top rope, who hasn't taken bump after bump after bump unless he's getting attacked by said wrestler, how do you even have that passion? How do you even have it in you? I mean, he was made to do this. His creator, when he was on the manufacturer belt, it was like, Paul Heyman, he's going to have this. He's never missed with me. Never.
Master at work, guys. And, you know, like the promo itself, I had to really stop and listen to it because I was kind of unsure if we're gonna get a Rock and Roman moment anywhere, Mania, POE, Australia, wherever.
Mm-hmm.
But with Caleb Braxton asking Roman Reigns about it at the beginning of the show, and the crowd was so loud I couldn't even hear what she even asked him, right? But you know, it had something to do with Rock. And so he had to address it. And then we got this awesome Paul Heyman promo. I'm like, oh man, we're gonna get this. Right. They're putting too much time into talking about these men meeting for them not to deliver it at some point. Yeah, man, what better place can it be?
And the reason why I loved it too, because it made sense. Like, why would Roman waste his time talking about The Rock?
Yeah.
Dude, like, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running this. I've been running this. Like, that don't even get out. You have no chance against me. Right. You ain't wrestled in I don't know how long. I don't even justify that with a response. But Heyman will.
Yep.
But guys.
And Heyman put fire on that.
Paul Heyman also kind of spoke to why The Rock doesn't deserve to be in the ring with Roman Reigns at this point.
Correct.
Right? Let alone at WrestleMania. Like, why? How can they get The Rock? And this is where it comes back to the championship.
Mm-hmm.
How can they get The Rock to Mania against Roman Reigns, their hottest wrestler in the decade, in a championship match? What has The Rock done? You know, this kind of goes back to, you know, a year ago on Cody's journey, right? Got debut at the Mania, ran through Seth, got down to the Royal Rumble, came in at 31, right? And we feel like he didn't deserve it. Well, The Rock hasn't wrestled in years. He may or may not be in the Rumble. Right? Does he deserve a shot at the Undisputed Championship?
And that's why I'm willing to accept Roman not breaking the record because of that exact reason, because I would be a hypocrite because I said Cody didn't earn it last time. So Rock absolutely deserves a shot at as a tribal chief, the head of the table, absolutely, because that's something that's beyond wrestling. That's their family. But for the title, probably not. So if someone argued and said Rock doesn't deserve a championship title, I probably couldn't argue you. I mean, for me, everything that Rock has done for the business, yes, he absolutely earns it anytime he wants. But I could see somebody say, no, he just storyline wise and just from fandom, no, he doesn't deserve it.
If somebody told me Rock doesn't deserve a match against Roman Reigns,
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
you know what I tell them?
What you going to tell them?
Shut the fuck up, it's The Rock.
Nice callback.
That's what I would tell them. Eshaun, you brought up a great question, comment. We were talking about in the text thread, kind of about Hogan. I think he's got like his 40th anniversary coming up, and there's plans for them to do some type of celebratory thing on TV. And we talked about can you separate art and talent from the person? In this particular situation, it's Hogan versus Terry Bollea, because we know all the racist stuff. Now he is saved. He got baptized a couple weeks ago, and we just came out here last week, and I talked about, hey, everybody deserves forgiveness or a chance, but he's had his chance numerous times to like apologize. He really didn't apologize properly. So who knows what's what with that? But let's talk about that. Let's. I would love for you to start because you have, I think, a different take than I do on this.
I'm not sure I do. I mean, for me, Hulk Hogan, much like a lot of people, was a reason why we got into wrestling. I think Ricky Steamboat was the first wrestler I saw that really dragged me into wrestling. But I saw Hulk and soon after, and he took it from there. I was a Hulkamania big time back in the day. So when I heard the comments that Hulk made, it really hurt. And what hurt even more was the lack of apology, right, as Matt spoke to. He apologized, but here's the thing, his apology seemed more of a, like, hey, watch what you say around certain people.
Right.
Like, right? It wasn't like, hey, I'm sorry I offended, the black community or X, Y, and Z. He was like, hey, yeah, my bad, but, watch who you pillow talk with. That seemed to be the gist of it. And so for years since that, I've been anti-Hulk. I play the 2K games. I don't play them. If I do, I whoop that A. I whoop that task real, real good. My fandom for Hulk Hogan just hasn't been there. But I thought about something as I'm getting older. I'm like, look, there's Terry Bollea. I think I'm saying his name correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Hulk Hogan. Now, much like Ric Flair and the person behind Ric Flair, they kind of intertwine, but they're not. Hulk Hogan I know wasn't a racist. Like, right? The character, not the man. The character was not a racist. He was an All-American. He was defending the American flag. He was a good guy. He was there for the people. That character is not the man. So going forward, is there a way for us as fans? A lot of look, I'm not going to talk about specific individuals, but a lot of people think that way. Like, hey, I'm a fan of the character himself, not the man himself. Can you guys separate the character from the man with your fandom?
What I'm about to say is a slippery slope. But ultimately, for me, I feel it comes down to what did the person do? So being a racist, I probably could separate the two. I didn't get into wrestling for Hogan. I got into wrestling because of The Rock. Being like a child molester or a rapist, no. Being a murderer in the streets like the rappers, because that was the life that you lived, I probably could separate the two. But being like a human trafficker, no. So I think it just comes down to me of what did they do? Because for me, there are certain morals that I have too. You can't be a molester convicted molester and I can still support your music or whatever art that you do. I can't. Just in my spirit, I just can't. But something like Hogan, absolutely. I can say that he probably put pro wrestling on the map. I can give him all those props for that. And I could probably separate him as Terry Bollea, the racist, and Hulk Hogan, the American, what was he called? American, whatever.
I am a real
American. There we go.
Right.
I was just holding off and you was going to make up a new word. That's why I didn't help you out there.
I was trying to say dream, but I was like, we already have an American dream. So dust that roads. But
man, that's a tough one for me because most of my answer is no, I don't think I can separate the two. Because I look at, like, my favorite artist of all time is Michael Jackson. Right? If it was true that he was sexually assaulting kids, I could never listen to Michael Jackson music again. Same way with R. Kelly. R. Kelly is an absolute GOAT when he should have went down as one of the best R&B artists and minds and songwriters in the history of music. And now he's just going to go down as a piece of shit person who did really unspeakable things to women and underage, teens. Like, I can't listen to his music anymore.
I don't listen to his music anymore.
Because his music is part of that. His music is part of what he was convicted for, right? Like, if you listen to those lyrics, like, you talking about a grown woman, you talking about a little kid.
He was calling himself the Pied Piper back then.
Correct.
Too, man.
Just flaunting it. Just flaunting it. And, like, anybody who does anything like that, they have trauma and they have issues that they need to take care of. Like, even Hogan. Somebody crossed him at one point, and now he has trauma because of that. I just can't. And Hogan is completely the reason why I'm even on this podcast right now, I'm sure. Like, he was wrestling to me. If it wasn't for Hogan, it would be no WWF, just like Vince McMahon.
Right.
They were, like, side to side, joining at the hip to make this thing what it is. And I met Hogan before, and, like, of course, he seemed cool. Like, he would not seem cool, but I just can't, like, when I see him now, I just revert back to the real person. And I was a major Hogan fan, but then I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, because we all are, because I love the Warrior. The Warrior absolutely said some things. It's like, dude, you can't be serious right now. And I met Warrior and, like, had a great connection with him when we had a conversation. But I was able to, like, okay, I can move past that a little bit. Yeah, it's messed up. You did this, you said this. So it's like, we're all hypocrites at the end of the day. I think, Rhodesia, really comes down to what you said of morally, what are you okay with letting slide? Because nobody's perfect.
Right.
But I do think if it's anything you can go to jail for, I can't separate it. If it's like, you're just not the person I thought you were, I can still enjoy your talent, maybe. Okay, I can rock with that. But yeah, like, if you should be in prison, I can't do it.
That's a good way to sum it up.
Yep.
I'm actually with Rhodesia, but that's actually even better because, like,
But wait, no. Rappers, some of them gangbang, and I can still listen to their music because that was just the streets for them. And they can go to jail for that.
But that's different. So if you take, like, the Young Thug thing, if you believe what his RICO case is for, you can't supporting like 50 killings. That's not really, like, now we're talking about putting hits out on people and all that kind of stuff. And
okay,
all that's
now
allegedly.
That you say it,
that's allegedly.
I have to purge all my hip hop
that,
music now.
That's a little bit different of you have to survive in the streets. That's not surviving. That's
like
you're going above.
What an interesting conversation, because you think about all these drug dealers that are romanticized in movies and shows, etc. The Scarfaces, like, it's kind of like that, right? But I guess I kind of, and I'll end on this one. I guess I'm with Rhodesia when it comes to children. If you're harming children, I can't roll with you. Like with Tony Bollea, okay, he's a racist. He's got baptized, whatever, man. Like, it's interesting that these things come out for these celebrities and these wrestlers, how they're changing their lives when there's, like, a thing in wrestling they're trying to get to. Like, right, we got the 40th coming up for Hogan. We got Velveteen trying to get back in wrestling, and now the change, man, right before these things happen. But, we're supposed to forgive and forget. But as Rhodesia said, there's certain things I can't forget. And a lot of it has to do with children. Leave children and innocent people alone.
Scarface had it right. Scarface said it. No mess with children, man.
Yep. Women and children. He died for it too.
Yeah.
I would love give Hogan his 40th anniversary or whatever number it is. Have the whole ceremony. Ceremony's done with. Hit Roman Reigns' music. Have Roman come out there and say, "Oh man, that streak that you had is about to be done for."
Dog, okay.
Give it to me.
I'll be doing wrestling for the rest of the year if that happens.
Give it to me.
I'd have been a happy
veins.
woman.
Hey, that might turn Hulk Hogan face in my household. Goddamn it, I might.
I can separate.
At that moment.
All right, guys. I've been talking about this for 3 months now. It's time. It's January 7th. I kept saying we're going to have this conversation in January. Started in September. Something else happened in October. I said we'll have the conversation in January. Something else happened in November. I said we'll have a conversation in January. A couple weeks ago, something happened. I said, yep, a few more weeks. It's time to do this, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm only doing this because of a point I'm trying to make. I am not trying to pit them against each other. We do that too much, right? If something great happens to one person, we always got to say, but what about this person? This is not that. But I feel like they're connected. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams.
Okay, it's time.
It's time to have this conversation.
It's January, yep, okay.
And nothing has changed in my thoughts since September on what I was going to say about this. And I wanted to give this time because Trick started bubbling around that time. And I'm like, okay, all right. Melo's mellow. Trick Williams will be a bigger star than Carmelo Hayes. Trick Williams will be a better main character than Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes may be one of the best supporting actors and characters WWE will see and have seen in like the last 10 years or so. So this is not a slight or a knock on Carmelo. But when Carmelo was at his highest, Trick Williams was right there. We've talked on this podcast fairly semi-regularly, just like, man, Carmelo's missing something. Man, like, what y'all think about Carmelo? Man, what you guys think about that segment with Carmelo? What did you think about that match? And more often than not, it was always like, it was good, but it was always a but after it. It was always a but after it. Always a but. And then we get an episode on NXT. I will never forget this episode where Carmelo was like the sidekick. It was when Cena was on, it was the January episode. Well, no, not January. It was when they were going head to head to AEW. So Cena was there, Cody was there. And they had Carmelo in like this supporting role where every segment he was in, he wasn't the main person, but he had a lot of speaking lines. He had a lot of things he needed to do, and he was incredible in that episode. And I'm like, that's his spot. He's the second. And once again, there's nothing wrong with being the second. I'm not saying he's Marty Jannetty to Shawn Michaels. Not saying that. I'm not even saying he's probably, depending on what side you're on, he could be the Kevin Nash to Scott Hall or the Scott Hall to Kevin Nash. Some people have their favorites between those two. You look at it and say, hey, they both could have been top guys. Like, I think Razor's like maybe like the best mid-carder in history of wrestling. He was never like that main event star. I think that's where Melo's at. I really do. When he was on SmackDown these last couple weeks, killed it. His matches with KO, fantastic. You still look and you still say, but man, there's just something missing when he's not with Trick. Now, Trick can go out there by himself with anybody else in the segment, smashes it, kills it every single time. I think that is where we're going to be at if we fast forward to like the end of 2026 and we see on the main roster, hey, the pecking order, I think Trick has a much higher ceiling than Carmelo does. Thoughts?
I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't know why you waited so long to say that. Because it's evident. It's evident. It's been that way. I've been telling you guys about Carmelo, and there's no knock against. There's a, like Kevin Nash had coined a term back in the day, like vanilla midget.
Oh, we can't use that word anymore.
Well, if this was in the 90s, Carmelo would be a chocolate midget.
Oh
he
my
did.
God.
Nash did say that. He did say that.
Nash said that, so we got to cancel Nash too. He's from the city, though. He's from the D. Maybe we can't cancel. Oh, we can't. No, stop.
We can't because I was
I can separate Kevin Nash.
Cat Williams back in the day, right? We was talking about Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. They said things back in the day you can't say now, like right.
So now you're saying he's a chocolate little person.
Yep,
it has nothing to do with. And you're saying it has nothing to do with his height, is what you're saying.
Nothing to do. Oh, he's a little guy too. I think he's shorter than me. There's something missing on the charisma side with them. And in some ways, I think there might be something there. He hasn't tapped into it yet. I think there's something. I think there's a charisma. There's a character that's there, but he hasn't tapped into it yet. But Trick has it. Trick tapped into it very early on. Like, right? He added all the flavor and charisma to that entire package. Right? He just can't go in the ring like Carmelo goes. But he's learning. He's getting better. He's taller. He's bigger. He's going to get up more opportunity. He's kind of like Edge and Christian a little bit, right? Like Edge got a lot of opportunity because how tall and big he was, right? Had the awesome hair, good-looking man. Trick already has all those things. And they can work around the wrestling part of it, right? He might turn into Antonio Dawkins. Like, right,
Antonio.
Hey, look, I hadn't said it out loud. But in a lot of ways, Dawkins might be a better worker than Taz at this point.
Brought that up months ago too.
Stuff can flip.
And I think, but I do wonder if some of that though is maybe just with the expectation we had on Montez. But it feels like Montez is in the same spot he was like a year ago. And it feels like every few months with Dawkins is adding something to his presentation or to his in-ring work. Speaking of adding something, you see Roman hit that powerbomb?
Whoo.
So he's going to be adding that evidently then to his moveset, which is great because like powerbombs are like, shout out to Sid. Wanted to go.
He used to do it back in the day, right? With the Shield. That was kind of the thing for him.
Yeah.
But but going back to Trick, yeah, definitely. He in the bigger attribute to being a WWE superstar is the showman skills. And Trick is the better showman. It's obvious. What say you, Rhodesia?
I had to look up something just so I didn't misspeak here.
Oh, I love it. Here we go.
And I looked on Wikipedia, so hopefully they're right. I want to take them two separately real quick. Trick Williams, I think it looks like he debuted in 2021 into pro wrestling. Still a young guy. I think he tapped into what being a star is very, very quick. I think he has a physique for it. I think he has the confidence in himself. And we've even talked about this many, many episodes ago, that sometimes the technical part of wrestling is the least of what it takes to be a great wrestler. Can you go in the ring? Can you captivate the audience? And then how's your work rate is. Carmelo is much smaller. And I think just inherently from coming up in the WWF and kind of Vince mind that bigger guys are stars. There are some smaller guys that can just break through and still stand out. But if you're not a heavyweight, you're kind of like, all right, you the mid card. Carmelo, I do think, and I've said this before, is going through the motions. He's been in this since 2014. So almost 10 years now at this point. He's been a wrestler, which is a long time. I felt that he became stagnant in NXT, possibly because of the talent that he was going against. And it never elevated him. I think there's still so much more there in Carmelo that we don't see. With that being said, Matt, I remember that episode of NXT that you're talking about exactly. And he thrived in that promo, in that segment. And that probably is segments. And that probably is where he should be at. An upper mid-carder. And there's nothing wrong with that because we need everybody to have a different role to make a show great.
And real quick too, and it wasn't about him being an upper mid-carder on that episode. What it was about was him playing off of somebody else.
Sure.
His timing, everything was fantastic, playing off of somebody else.
He didn't take the lead.
At his height, he was playing off of Trick Williams. And Trick was playing off of him too, but he had somebody to bounce things off of to react. It's like somebody who, if you watch a show, right, you have a host, okay? And they may be fantastic in that role. First Take, perfect example. Stephen A. Smith. Molly is the host. He bounces a lot of his stuff off of Molly. It is a completely different show when Molly's not there and Stephen A. has to host. It's a different skill set. Right. So yeah, he's still Stephen A. He's still interesting. He's still going to say something that's funny. He's still going to give you some knowledge, but it ain't the same when he can kind of lay back a little bit and pick apart what somebody else said and play off of them and then hit you with some zingy one-liners. And that's what right now Carmelo just thrives in, is being able to play off that other person.
But I also, for sure, on the mic, I see that for sure. But Carmelo can be a main guy. I think, like he said, there's just something that he's just hasn't tapped into. And maybe it was, again, like I said, because the last year or so, he's been pretty stagnant in NXT. I mean, him and even Braun, but more so even Carmelo, I felt like you got to throw somebody else at these guys to keep elevating them. He's been in this business for 10 years now. He should have been called up to the main card. I think last thing too, and maybe what we're seeing is he's just not meant and built to be a face right now. Maybe that could be it too. It's a lot of different things, but there's nothing. What you said about Trick, 100%. That's why I wanted to take them two separately. And like you said, I don't like pinning people against each other. But I mean, this is a fair conversation. Again, Trick, I think, tapped into his stardom much sooner in his pro wrestling career. Carmelo has not quite yet, for many probably different reasons. But I think two of them couldn't be stars in WWE,
and I think Trick will be.
Yeah, and I think Trick is going to be more of a star because how big he is, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's more than just size. And Melo is an MVP for the company. He helped Cody get back ready when Cody was getting back. So like he is going to be entrenched in there. But yeah, I wanted to have that conversation. I wanted to wait. I wanted to say, okay, I want to keep giving it some months to figure out, and we'll see. The good thing about this is we'll be able to revisit it.
Hey, last thing on that too, though, guys.
Yeah.
You know, if Carmelo doesn't figure this thing out, he's going to be just another gray hand. And you know what they say about gray hands?
What they do? What they say?
Gray hands. All they do, they get wrestlers. They get other wrestlers ready to be big stars.
Oh, I'm thinking about something else.
That's what he's going to be. He's going to be that guy that gets other people ready to be stars.
I was talking literally with the hands. Got it.
Oh, it's just nasty.
Told you, there it is. You know what it is, E.
Okay.
You said it.
Let's transition to AEW real quick. And I kind of want to hit a few things. After Dynamite, I sent a text out and said I could do an entire episode of this podcast on Dynamite. So I'm gonna give a real big condensed version. Let's start with Deonna Purrazzo. Shout out to Deonna. So happy for her to be able to get the AEW contract. Thought the debut was really good. Mariah May, you gotta change your slogan. I'm about to give you some free game. Mariah May's slogan is what, Rhodesia?
It gotta be Mariah. It's all about Mariah. It's all about Mariah. Yeah.
It's all about either Mariah May or it's all about May is what it needs to be.
All about May.
Just like Jamie Hayter, right? Where Jamie's was Jamie hits hard. No, it's Jamie hits harder is what it should be. It just comes off the tongue better. Anyway, and I love Mariah May. She's fantastic is what she's doing. But I do want to really quick to talk about the women's division for AEW. Now, nothing's going to change unless Tony Khan makes the women's division as big as it needs to be and as it should be. After Deonna showed up, and of course, the big rumors of Mercedes potentially signing to AEW very, very soon. I'm not even going to include Mercedes. Listen just to these names. Toni Storm, Deonna Purrazzo, Mariah May, Ruby Soho, Willow, Chris Stanlander, Thunder Rosa, And I'm going to throw in Athena in there, even though she's on ROH. She's got to show up eventually in AEW. That is like your top tier bucket. Then you think about the injured stars that you have. Britt Baker, Tay Mello, Jamie Hayter. And then I go to like that next bucket, right? Okay, so now that's your main event bucket right there. Then now let's go to the people who are bubbling or who can give you good, entertaining matches that I care about, right? Or personalities. Sheeta, Soraya, Riho, Anna Jay, Julia, Sky Blue, Serena Deeb, Nyla Rose, Red Velvet. There should be no reason that women's division only gets one match a show or is not looked at as a strength of any company. And then you throw potentially Mercedes on top of that, because we were talking before about like, damn, man, we would love to see Mercedes in WWE because the talent there, hell, look at the talent I just named off. And those are the only names for me that I'm like, I would tune in to watch. I care about them either from a character standpoint or because I know they can put on banger matches. They have other female performers too that probably should maybe be on that list, but that is more than enough. More than enough to have a awesome women's division.
Wow. All those names. Wow. You're right. I'm speechless. It will require the creators or creative team to book them right. You have what it takes to have a very successful women's division. There's no question about it. And I just want to mention one thing, because I saw it on Collision, the Serena D package. I told Matt E, I got goosebumps. Can you believe that? I got goosebumps from, and this could be what they call it, the olive branch. This could be the start of making this women's division where it needs to be. I got goosebumps when I saw that Serena D video package. Did you get a chance to see?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I haven't gotten that from AEW from a women's match before.
But it wasn't a match. It was a promo.
I'm sorry. Promo package. I'm sorry. That got to be the same energy we keep going forward at this point. That energy you put into that video package, let's keep it going. What you're doing with Mariah May, let's keep that going. So I'm going to look at this as a glass half full and that they're trying to go in the right direction with the women's division. Now they just got to show and prove.
Guys, I got some stuff on this. I've been actually waiting for y'all to talk about this type of the AEW women's division. Been holding it. Oh, and real quick, Anna Jay. You know, Anna Jay hasn't gotten any better in ring in the past 3 years she's been in the company. Her matches still stink. Pretty girl, though. I would love her to get to the PC. Right? Because, matter of fact, Matt, I don't think we talked about it. I know you mentioned it on Twitter a couple of times. Man, Jay is turning into a all-arounder.
Come on now.
At the dungeon.
Both
right?
of y'all sitting over there talking about something. Nah, I want her in NXT. You imagine putting her on UPN on Tuesdays? No. Put that woman on the main roster with the main talent and watch her flourish. She out there doing triple moonsault, Herculeans, and
she wasn't doing none of that.
Quadruple power bombs and German suplexes from inside the ring to outside the building. Boy,
but just imagine if she gets more time so she can comfortably continue to learn, man. She's going to be great, man. She's picking up so damn fast. But you talk about Anna Jay and a couple of other women on that roster, like they just haven't gotten better as characters or even wrestlers since they've been in the company. And when we talk about like that list of people, they've been there for a long ass time doing the same stuff. And so now you're trying to put faith in a creative team that hasn't fully invested in the women's division in over the past 2.5 years. You think they're going to do it like what, tomorrow? That's not who this company is, and that's not who the creative leader is in that company. If y'all expecting better stuff, y'all need to get better people to do this, which is why I suggested to get a specific writer for that division. Because we talk about like creative, like think about what Tony Khan is good at, right? Tony Khan is good at putting matches together and evaluating talent. He's pretty good at knowing who's good and who can work well, right? What he's not great at is actually booking cohesive storylines properly, consistently, right? He hasn't shown a track record of that, and he has a 5-year history of it. He's not a newbie. He's not somebody we can give the benefit of the doubt. We know exactly what he's about. We know what he wants. he needs to shut up and wrestle or get somebody who can do something better. He's not the man for the job. So we think we're going to get a better women's division because our Mercedes comes in there. I got a news flash for you. It's not. Like, right? They just don't have the proper creative team to properly support her or that division. We've seen, it's evident. We got a lot of women that are just been in the holding pattern. We're talking about Carmelo stagnant. Half the damn women's roster is stagnant. They've been there for a long time. And they haven't gotten better in any regards, right? There's a couple of them because sometimes the cream rises to the top. Some other people need a little bit of a nudge. Some people need a new environment. Like, right? Talk about Mariah May, right? Creatively. She sticks out like a sore thumb in that Toni Storm clique. Like, right? Toni has her whole thing. You know, she's trapped in the 30s or 40s or whatever it is. The butler kind of makes sense. Like, but if you close your eyes, you can pretend he's not there. Like, right? But at least he looks the part. When Mariah's standing next to Toni, she doesn't look like she's part of them. She doesn't talk like she's part of them. When she came out for her debut, you would think she had nothing to do with those people. Like, right? Her gear, her entrance video, everything about her doesn't scream that she's part of this timeless Toni Storm thing. Like, right? So separate her.
But isn't that the point?
I think
that's the point because she's just a obsessed fan with Toni Storm. Toni Storm told her last week, "I ain't never seen you wrestle. I don't watch wrestling."
Hey, so
she don't even know her.
So if you're a obsessed fan, we've seen them. We've seen them at conventions. We're wrestling fans. We go to wrestling shows, right? These guys are walking around with T-shirts on. They got the championship belt. You mean tell me this obsessed fan wouldn't look and dress like a Toni Storm? She's not that obsessed because she knows that she don't want to wear that stuff. Like, right? She want to wear her little schoolgirl outfits, and I love it. She's a beautiful girl. I love it. I actually liked her match a lot too. But she's truly a obsessed fan. She's not playing the part very well, and that goes back to creative.
I have no.
That goes back to creative. That goes to creative. Think about true essence, and after the show, think what you want. A true obsessed fan lives, breathes their people. They got the T-shirts on. They got the hats on. They got everything on. There's nothing about her. The way she acts seems like she's a obsessed fan. There's nothing about it.
But you're missing the big part. She's a wrestler, though. She's a wrestler.
Also, too, if you think about the Trish Stratus, Mickie James obsessed storyline, she didn't dress like Trish either back in the day. But yeah, now if you're saying, if you wanted to bring Mariah May in as the obsessed fan that maybe just so happens wrestles, I get what you're saying, E, and I'm down for that. But she's too good, and she has too much of a lineage in wrestling to put her in that just obsessed fan pocket. I understand what you're saying, though, because if you want to take that conversation of bad creative, that Adam Cole promo.
I have everything bad with that one.
So, your biggest storyline, I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna chill out a little bit.
Now go.
Hey, a storyline you spent a long time on your platforms. Dynamite,
go off, King.
Collision.
Comes
to an end at World's End. We've already talked about it didn't hit. The actual execution of it. Okay, cool. I said a couple weeks ago, hey, do the unveiling of the devil and all his henchmen on World's End, and on Wednesday's Dynamite, show all the video evidence that links Adam Cole to the devil. We got the check on World's End. Cool. All right. Hated the way it was executed, but we can make it right on Wednesday. That promo was such a missed opportunity. One, and I know AEW is about the wrestling. Okay, so maybe I just lean too much into story and promo time and things of that nature. And that's fine. That's cool. If you weren't going to have Cole walk us through how he was the devil since August, and mainly since November, if you weren't going to show us the videos of when he showed up and how he was the devil and how everything that happened was under his tutelage, then how about we put that promo at the top of the second hour and we use an hour of threads of AEW just showing us how Adam Cole was the devil. 30-second clips of this is what Cole did back in blah, blah, blah. And we build up this promo because this should be why, Adam, why? Why'd you do it, Adam Cole? And Adam Cole is going to walk us through why he did it next on Dynamite. And either that's the top of the 9 o'clock hour or that's the main event slot. Because you spent over 4 months telling this set story. But what we got out of that promo was the name Undisputed Kingdom and damn near a face promo if you listen to Adam Cole. Like, okay, so you turned on MJF because MJF cares about nobody but himself. But all MJF cared about was this friendship for 90 days. And then we're going to just run back the Luchasaurus and Christian gimmick. Hey, and when Wardlow gets that title, he's going to hand it over to me. What? That is what we get from months and months and months of you wanting to take everything from MJF?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my man. What?
Mm-hmm.
And E, you said it on the last pod, right? Or Sunday's pod. You said, why do we expect change if this is kind of where they've been going from a creative perspective? And Rhodesia and I argument was because we still need to expect great stuff. Like, you can always pivot. Wrestling is predetermined. You can always erase and write some in. That was such a missed opportunity. I watched that and I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to fall back a little bit from AEW. It worked me up that much. Because I was like, if I feel like people who watch this can create better stories and show threads than the people that are doing it, something's wrong.
Aha.
Something's wrong. And I don't know if I'm in the minority because I didn't look on social media to see like what people thought about the promo because we were at the Travis Scott concert on Wednesday. So I watched everything on delay, like that Thursday and that Friday. So I don't know what the temperature was from that. And overall, I thought Dynamite was really good. I loved Takeshita and Darby Allin. There was a lot of good stuff in it, but man, I just feel like when they have an opportunity to nail something, it's a lot of swing and misses.
I started the pod talking about the word love, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to end my saying on this pod about the opposite of love, which is hopelessness. And that's just what I felt after that promo. After them being in the ring. And I'm going to say, when you pull everything back, absolutely, Adam Cole should have been the devil, for sure. I'm not going to debate that. And I'm not going to belabor everything you just said right there, Matt, but I just felt hopeless as a fan of that storyline. You give me Roddy strong, neck strong. You give me all that. Everything was there for it to come full together out of all these months of this storyline. You had everything. I mean, I've watched enough movies to say, hey, I love my favorite thriller movies is when people do that little callback to everything so you can bring it back full circle. Come on. It doesn't take somebody who got a degree in production to kind of say that. You're a consumer of entertainment too. But I just felt hopeless after watching that.
Oh, guys. You know, I feel like sometimes, well, back in a couple years ago, I was really guilty of when I would watch the WWE, right? This is the apex of my Vince hate and his creative. And I used to get really upset because the people who I wanted to win didn't win, and the storylines I thought should happen or I booked in my mind didn't happen, right? And a lot of times I feel like a lot of wrestling fans, that's what we do. We kind of book things out in our minds, and when it doesn't play out the way we expect or better, we get disappointed in what we see. And I feel like that's sometimes what we do with AEW. But you got to look at it and see what that show is. Like, they told us what this storyline was this entire time. It's been crappy. I honestly had no intention or no expectation they would be able to make this good. I think the group itself is flawed. I mean, you got, so this is supposed to be a dangerous faction, the Devil Circle, whatever they're called. The Undisputed Kingdom. This is supposed to be a dangerous faction, but Roddy and the Kingdom have been doing comedy for the past 6 months. Now I'm supposed to take them seriously as a threat? Like, what? Wardlow has been gunning for Wardlow. I mean, Wardlow's been gunning for MJF. They've been doing video packages for this man. He's been chasing them around. So he'll chase them. Then he'll go in the back, I guess, and put a mask on and chase them again. Like, everything just didn't make sense leading up to the whole reveal, right? So for me, I'm like, okay, cool. Y'all done fudged up the whole mask thing. Let's see what we can do with the mask off, right? Now that like that crutch is gone, right? Okay, now let's get on the mic, Adam Cole, and get this faction like there. And he didn't do it. I think this is actually one of Adam Cole's worst promos I heard him say. And see, one of the things about Adam Cole, like, he's a little guy. Legit, he's a little guy. I want to say, because I'm a little guy too, but I think I'm taller than Adam Cole. He walked by me and I'm like, oh, snap. I think we're like the same. But he talks like a big man. Mm-hmm. He talks with conviction. And I didn't hear conviction in his voice doing that promo.
He can't believe the payoff either. He's like, I gotta go out there and tell this story. But he's hopeless too.
Your joke. I think you're right. I think I didn't hear the same conviction in that strong, tall man, Adam Cole, when he cut that promo. I think he knows that this whole thing is dead in the water. Oh, and by the way, Wardlow is going to hand me the championship. Like, right? We know
we what's going to happen. Storylines.
We already know what's going to happen with this thing, right? They're not going to be that cohesive. Like, we already know that Wardlow is going to, he already stooged off a little bit. He kind of went, he kind of did like the little wink type thing, whatever, right? So we already know where this thing is going. Guys, this company just isn't good with this type of stuff. They're just not. Like, right?
And you brought up a great point, E. You brought up, imagine if Wardlow had been off TV for months before the unveiling in the World's End where he pulls the mask off and it's Wardlow.
Everyone would have popped. It would have been a gasp. You'd be like, oh no, Wardlow.
He finally got him back. Right? But then yet that doesn't happen. And then I try not to dissect what was bad about this storyline. Like, one of my major flaws with the storyline was Roddy kept saying MJF was the devil, even though he knew he wasn't. That doesn't make sense. Like, and they didn't bring that up again, but he would come out every single week on TV and say MJF is the devil, but he's down with the devil. That has to make sense somewhere, somehow, some way, and it just doesn't. I we'll see, but I am now at a point where I expect nothing else from this storyline, and I expect nothing else from this faction. If I get something great, and that should not be the case.
That should not be the case.
Should not be the case.
Mm-mm.
And you think about, like, their faction history, man, is pretty bad, right? Like the Pinnacle, that didn't work out. I think there's another faction they had that didn't work out. They don't have great batting averages right now with these factions.
I thought Prince Nana had a fantastic night on Dynamite. I got to shout him out.
Was that the dance off?
That was the main event.
Okay, yeah,
with him and Garcia, which was awesome. Like that I was thoroughly sports entertained. The whole look side to side, and now they're dancing off. Give that to me all the time. But Swerve and Garcia killed, which I love that match too. But Nana was so awesome in the backstage promo with Swerve. And then Swerve making a comment about going after Joe. And I had talked about with you guys, and I think I may have even tweeted it, like the timeline, the proper timeline. Joe has the belt. Let's get that belt on Swerve at Revolution. Swerve holds that belt until All In, where Ospreay beats him for that title in his hometown. That is your thread, AEW. That is how that world title makes you look. I'm not a huge fan of only having the belt on Joe for a couple months, but I think having him kind of stabilize that over the next few months until March, and then letting Swerve run with that thing from March to your biggest show of the year against Ospreay in Ospreay's hometown. Oh boy, give me that. Give me that. But the last thing I do want to nitpick, and then we can get out of here, because AEW does so many things well. So I got to shout them out when they do something well, but then they'll, in my opinion, shit right on it. Takeshita. Y'all know I'm so high on Takeshita. Him and Darby, chef kiss match, right? Maybe the match of the year so far. We're only 7 days in. That German suplex spot outside the ring. It was a double rolling German suplex that Takeshita gave Darby Allin. On NXT, there was a spot where Joaquin Phoenix was launched from the ring to the entranceway.
Wow.
Beautiful looking spot. They proceeded to show it 32 times to tell you it was a big deal. And it has not stopped being on NXT's social media since. This is where some fans will say, oh, Matt, you just want to be spoon-fed to tell you what's important. No, I want you to tell your audience what's important. That German suplex spot equated to rolling Darby Allin in the ring for a 2 count. I think they may have replayed it once. That is a spot. And I've talked about this and I continue to talk about it. You are conditioning your audience to not understand these are real human beings and these moves hurt. You got to be able to protect the talent from themselves and protect these major moves. The way that should have went down is you give me that double rolling German suplex. That's an incredible spot. Should be all over social media still. But then what you do to protect that spot, have to catch the turn cocky right there. He goes over to Don, who's Don is on commentary. Maybe they hug, right? Maybe they high five. Maybe they look around and the crowd is giving them and they're doing all that. Referee is out checking on Darby. Oh man, this looks bad for Darby. I know we see Darby take some crazy moves, but that was, look at this. Check this out. Replay it 4 or 5 times. Have to catch to go over there, roll Darby in the ring. Referee still checking on Darby. Takeshita walking around, posing, whatever the case. Cocky smile, whatever he does. Milk it. Milk it. Milk it. Milk it. Milk it some more. So at the end of the day, we think about that double rolling German suplex as the major, huge move that it was, and not just another spot to get from point A to point B. And that's all it was in that match. They just do so many awesome things that they just jump on top of it and you forget about it.
If this is being called spoon fed, then I like my food warm, because when that happened, I'm like, oh my God, I have never seen this before. This is incredible. Holy hell. I should still remember that. I forgot about it. And that's 4 days later, and I forgot about that move. Just like the Joaquin Phoenix jumping off of the rope, launching off. I remember that. I completely forgot about Takeshita. If I'm a spoon-fed person, then so be it, because that should have been those spots where, oh my God, I will remember this for weeks to come. When I think about Takeshita, I'm going to remember that he did something that I've never seen before. I've been watching wrestling for 25 years. I've never seen that before. Why did I forget it just less than a week later?
How did you feel about it when you watched it real time, Rhodesia?
I thought it was incredible, and I was pissed. I was like, that should have... Why isn't they out there still? Why are you going for a cover right now? And then you don't win. I don't want to end the show like this. I'm going to end the show happy.
I honestly had no problem with the guys.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say because you didn't watch it.
No, I had no problem with it. No. Because that's their style. We've been watching this for 5 years now.
Yeah, but when I get something brand new, like something brand new I've never seen before.
That's what they do.
Make it important.
Yeah, make it important.
It's a crash and burn show. I mean, you think about the final moments of that match, right? We got a big off the top rope German suplex, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Darby Allin ain't dead yet. He gets up and gives the middle finger.
Where's the air horn at?
And so then he finally gets finished with that little knee.
Yeah,
that's what we do. Like, right? That's what we get with that show. So that's why when I watch these matches or even a show, and instead of me saying it's a 10, I'll say it's a 7.5 because of things like that take you out of the moment, right? It could be a hell of a match, but there's so many small little things that just breaks up, that really disengage you from from the actual match, right? It's like when you have let's say I have my brother-in-law over to watch this, right? And he sees these things happen, and he sees these guys kicking out. He's like, man, this he's not, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. He's like, oh, this shit's fake.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because in real life, these things will kill somebody. And these guys are getting up, acting like the stuff doesn't happen. Like that's why for me, the show is a 7.5 for those types of things. But also understand that's what I'm going to get when I watch these shows. Like, right? So it just is what it is. That's what we're getting with AEW.
And it just sucks because Darby is turning into, when you see Darby take a move, it's more about Darby taking the move than it is a person who's delivering the move.
Mm-hmm.
And that shouldn't be the case. Even back in the day when Jeff Hardy was doing his craziness, it was about the person who gave Jeff Hardy that crazy move more so than it was, oh, that's Jeff being Jeff. We said that a lot, but it was more about, okay, in the moment, man, I can't believe what Taker just did to Jeff Hardy. I can't believe what the Dudley Boys just did to Jeff Hardy. With Darby, it's becoming more of just, man, Darby's going to be crippled by the time he's 30, and people just move on from it.
Yeah.
Sucks, man.
And you know what? The thing is, it comes back to leadership in AEW, because the moments that you mentioned are in WWE. Like, that match wouldn't have been laid out and happened that way in WWE, because somebody would have allowed the agents to properly structure that match to make everything make sense and mean something. It's pretty rampant that they say that the young guys do what they want back there, and this is what we get.
Let's end on a happy note. I don't have anything happy, so I need y'all to figure it out. But I don't want to end on, which it kind of just feels like AEW hate. But I struggle, to pull the curtain back a little bit, I struggle a lot of times with talking AEW because I don't want to come across as just like the AEW hater, but I'm past that now. Anybody who listens to us and knows we want just everybody to do well, all promotions to do well, everybody to do well. So if I have something negative to say, I'm not going to hold back. There's been numerous times where I've kind of held back in the last, more like over the last 4 to 6 weeks than probably like any other time during our tenure of doing the pod. Because I'm worried about having that stigma of, oh, all you guys care about is WWE. Oh man, WWE can't do anything wrong, and AEW can't do anything right. And that's not the case, but I gotta call some of this out like I see it. But I don't want to end the show like on a negative thing. So can anybody end it on a positive?
Yeah. I love we got the Mariah May package that we talked about really quickly, the video package. She's goes crazy talking about how you gonna debut on my debut. Of course, I think about the butt. So Deonna's is in AEW. That is amazing. Love it. Love it. So for me, my takeaway from, and we had a great dance off too with Danny and Prince Nana. But I think every week AEW has great matches. They just got to put it together. And at what point they just can never put it together? You come to a realization for that, or are they going to do something about it? Because it is 5 years in now. The honeymoon stage is now officially over. Now I gotta put you to the fire. I gotta start holding you accountable. I got to. I've been the pro AEW person on this show. I still am. But again, I'm gonna call it out because there are standards. You gave me oh no, we say we're gonna end it on a happy note. So
see, you know what I'm saying? Look, you going.
So Deonna, welcome to AEW. You look great. Even though Mariah May hated your outfit choice for your day, but I love it.
Hey, I think that Dynamite was a good show, minus the promo. And I didn't get to finish about Mariah May. The reason why I said she sticks out because she's that good. I think get her away from that. I really enjoyed her match of the Queen. Man, she was good in that too. Like, why isn't she signed yet? And Mariah May stood out as well. I loved her line when Deonna said like, "Hey, tell Toni Storm X, Y, and Z," and then Mariah was like, "Tell you so, bitch." I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, let that girl go, man. She's gonna be a star for that company, y'all.
I agree. Good job. Thank you guys for ending on a positive note. And thank you guys for listening to the pod. 2 episodes away from 100 episodes. That is just such a big deal. When we got to, I think, 25 or 50, I said the majority of podcasts don't get past, like, I think 6 weeks or something like that, or 6 episodes. So for us to get to 100, and you guys listen and enjoy our content and watch us on YouTube weekly, we really, really, really appreciate it. So we got to figure out something special to do for episode 100. We do have some special things coming in January. Got with Ryan from the Parallax Effect, and we will be doing the watch along of the Iron Man match. That will be in a couple weeks, so we will, of course, set you guys up. Hopefully you guys watch along with us on Peacock or WWE Network if you guys are outside the country. Watch with us. I said a couple months ago, I don't think it's going to hold up. We will see. Rhodesia's never seen it. It's been about a decade or so since E has seen it also. That's going to be fun. And we are going to do our top 20 superstar list that same week. So you guys remember on last podcast, we talked about the Sting thing. Got some really good feedback too from a lot of you guys around where you would put Sting even after the podcast. So thanks for hitting us up on Twitter and YouTube. And I still haven't figured out my list yet, but we're gonna find out. We're all gonna give our top 20 list of superstars of all time and talk through that. So that should be a really, really fun show also. So we got that coming down for you. And then, like I said, next week, episode 100, which should be fantastic. So we are out of here, guys. We'll be back on Wednesday. I'm sure to break down Monday Night Raw, which I'll be watching on delay because Michigan Wolverines will be playing for the national championship on Monday. So go blue, and we will talk to you guys then. Peace.